Alrighty, now that I got the truck back, I can finally install the remote start that I waited 2 months on, and it came in the week that I dropped the truck off at the body shop, so it came in a month ago. Anyway, this is the factory remote start kit, and I'm guessing that's installation instructions. But comes with zip ties, comes with a wiring harness that you may or may not need. I need it, but I'll get to that in a second. Comes with 2 keys. There's no actually keys on them, so I need to go get keys cut. And then the main thing you need is the latch, because the latch has the electrical connector on it. The factory latch, if you don't have remote start, doesn't have the connector. But pretty much all these trucks have the connector right back here, like right behind this. However, you need to go into your kick panel, which I'll be showing later because I got to run that wiring over there. Go into the kick panel on the driver's side. There's the BCM up on the firewall. If you have the Alpine system, you have to remove the amp. But connector C1, which should be the top left connector, and pin number 11. I'll show all this because I have to run this wire. If there is a wire in that connector on connector C1 pin 11, you should be able to just take this wire, plug it into your new hood latch, and you should be good to go. However, mine doesn't have that. You know, all these harnesses on these trucks are pretty much all the same. So the connector's here, but it stops at the fuse box, at the TIP'em. It does not go from the TIP'em into the cab, which I guess is understandable. Different options, trucks, you know, there's slightly different harnesses. So I'm guessing because this is a fairly base model truck, the harness going into the cab from the TIP'em, you know, just doesn't have that wire, which kind of sucks, but honestly, it's not that hard to run this wire. First things first, you got to pull this off, which this should come off fairly easy because it's already been off at the body shop. But I'm going to go ahead and get this off, and then you have to get this off, and you shouldn't have to pull the grill off, but you definitely have to get this off. Alright, after you pull out all the little push pins, just one there, and then there's one here, and one here. Here's the connector that I'm telling you about. Like I said, this wire on mine doesn't go all the way inside. So anyway, the next step is actually replace the latch. Now you can, you know, mark it where you need to mark it, you know, scribe it, do something, and then I'll bolt it and bolt it back in. One thing to do is over here, there's a tab right there, and there's a tab on the other side. You can press those tabs down, pull this out, put it over, and take the clip out of here. Alright, here it is. Right here, there's a tab right here, and then a tab on the bottom. What I do is I usually start from the top. I push down on this side, and I take my pocket screwdriver, come around this side, press this down, and then it levers this way. It levers down with this clip already out, and then on the bottom side, while I pull out and pull up, I take my flathead screwdriver from the bottom, pull it, and then just pulls right out. So it's not difficult. Oops. I'll finish that after I get this off. I'm going to try to do it without removing the grill. I think they want you to remove the grill, which removing the grill is easy. It's bolt here, bolt here, bolt here, bolt here, and then you just pull it. And it's got little push tabs that are holding it in. Alright, after I scribed a couple marks on the side so I could get it back close, there's the old one, and there's the new one. Literally the only difference is this micro switch. Same case, same everything. So, yeah, it's time to install it. Just put that like that, put that over there, push it in, and that's it. And then you gotta bolt it on. Alright, click that on there, then run it under the radiator support, and then I ran it under this harness, and then I'm obviously not done. I gotta cut all these tails off these zip ties, but run it along the harness. I ran it under the harness here, around this thing, then under this radiator, that's actually the radiator, or part of the support, one of the two. I think that's part of the support, and then run it underneath that, through there, through there. So another zip tie. Then I ran it around this pillar, body pillar right here. It's this pillar that goes straight up and down from that lug, or the hole right there, all the way up to here. I ran it behind this piece. So it's right there, and then it comes out right there. Zip tied it along this harness up here. The ground is going to go right here. There's a ground lug that's already there. It's got a 10mm bolt right there. That's where the ground's going to go. And then I took off these two, connect bolts here and bolt here for the battery box. Push this back and shove the wiring harness behind it. So it's right there. And then I run it in through here. I ran it through, put a zip tie right there to hold it. And then I ran it behind this one also. And then clipped it on to... There's the hood cable right there. The clamp that holds the hood cable is a little big, so I put the wire through there. And then here's the wire right here. And it's going to go through the main grommet right here. Except, I don't know if I can get a good picture of it. You're not really going to see it, but under this main harness right here, there's a little piece of rubber that sticks out with a cap on it. See if I can give you a picture. Here's a picture of it. There's the main harness wire right there. Right underneath it, there's a rubber tube that's completely molded in, like that. You cut the tip of it off, and you run the wiring harness through that hole. So that's what I'm fixing to do now. I'm fixing to cut that little nipple off, run this inside, and then I'll meet you inside and show you what to do with the BCM. Well, I got it cut, which you can't see, but what I did is I took my right hand, went on this side of the harness, pushed the nipple over to where it was sticking out over here, and then I took my cutters with my left hand and cut it. You can't get behind it and do this, at least with cutters this big. So, yeah. Now, let's go to the inside and I'll show you. I'm not going to push the wire through just yet, but take the kick panel down, which is 2 7mm down here. One here. Excuse me. One here. One here. And they're down here at the bottom. One there. One there. And then you pinch the sides. Pinch the 2 sides. Pull the data link connector out. You don't have to pull this thing all the way off. You can let it dangle down, but I like more room. This is the same as the other side of the hood connector. There's a tab here and a tab here. I take one of the tabs, pop it in, angle it, then take the other tab, while I'm pulling and angling the other way and pop it out. To get this off, there's a cutout right here. What I did is I pulled this down where I have more slack, and then what you do is you take the cable, which is usually coming out this way, you angle it up to where it lines up with that little crack right there, and then you slide the whole pin out, and then you can take this off. So, once you're down here, if you have an Alpine system, it would be mounted right here, and it's right up in your way, so you have to take the Alpine amp out. The amp is right here on the Alpine system. You have to take it out if you have the Alpine system. Now, let's see if I can get the camera up in here, which I don't know if I can. Alright, this white panel back here, that's your body control module. That connector right up there in the corner, I can't zoom in without how I'm holding the camera. Right there in the corner, the very top left corner. You need to take that connector out. And it's one of these, one of the cantilever connectors, so it's got a little tab at the top. You push the tab down and you pull the clamp back, and as you pull the clamp back, it'll come out. I don't think I'm going to be able to show you this. Alright, here's the cover out of the vehicle. I'll show you better if I can. Yeah. So, this is in the BCM like this. Very top connector. You push this tab down and you pull this up. You push that tab down and you pull this up. So you push the tab down. And you push this up till it clicks. And as you lever this up, this is going to pull itself out of the BCM. And then you leave it left with just the connector and the wiring. Now, this is the cover that you have to take off. Right here is a tab. Take a pick or a flathead screwdriver, come to the back side, pull this, kind of lever this part up right here. I just come behind it on the back side with my flathead screwdriver, push it up, and then this whole thing slides off. Then you're left with the bare wires. You're left with bare wires. It's really hard to get up here and film, but this is where you're going to put your wire. Now, the 11th connector, if you're looking at the wiring, it's going to be that second connector. It's hard to film up in here, but here's the connector that you're left with. Now, if you look at the numbers, this should be 1. All the way up here is 13. This second slot down is where you put the wire, and that is right under that. See, that's 13. Or see, that's 12. See how that has a 12 on it? This last wire is 12, so it needs to go in this slot. Right here, right under this end wire, when you're looking straight at it. See, there's connector C1. It's that very top connector. There's that tab. Pull the wire out. And here's the connector. When you're facing the connector, there's pin 11. That's where the wire goes. Pin 11. Alright, there's two parts of this connector. I don't know if it's going to focus. There's this wing that's facing up. That's the lock. And there's a flat side. The lock side goes towards the outside of the connector where the open slot is. I'll stick it in and I'll show you. Alright. Oops. There's a connector right there. That tab that I showed you faces this outside where the slot is. The flat part faces inside. And there it is in the second connector. That top one is spot 12. That next one down is spot 13. And just slide it on in and move the wires out of the way so you can slip it in and slip it in. And yeah, so that's in spot 11. That's where it needs to be. Now all you do with this is put it on, slide it on, it clicks, and then put it into the body control module and start lowering this down, and it'll grab and push and pull itself in. And then just make sure it's all the way down and clicked. Alright, got the connector back in. I put some Tessa tape, couple of wraps of Tessa tape there. Put a couple rounds of Tessa tape there. Got a bundle of it right here. And then under here, you're not going to see it, but where it comes out of the firewall, I put a zip tie. It should be fine right there. I would put more tape around it, but it really should be fine. I couldn't really get zip ties up there, so I had to put some tape up there. I would like to be able to tape the whole thing up, but that wasn't going to happen. Okay, time to pull out Alfaobd and program it. Alright, fast forward 3 hours, and the remote starts finally working. The hood ajar indicator isn't working, so I might have to mess around with that. But come to find out, it would have worked the whole time. Literally just had to drive the truck around the block, and it started working. I programmed everything, had everything set, but it would not remote start. It would just honk once. I checked, the resistance on the hood latch. I checked the wire from the hood latch to the BCM, then from the hood latch to the ground. Everything checked out fine, but it would not remote start. Literally just had to drive it around the block, and it's remote started. I found a forum post where somebody said that they couldn't get it started. They did everything that I did, programmed everything I did, and couldn't get it to work. And then somebody chimed in and said, same thing happened to me. I had to drive it, and then it started working. Anyway, so I'm going to redo the programming. So literally go... Make sure you're connected to your OBD link. Well, I can't connect to the OBD link because it's not plugged in. Oops. Hopefully it'll still let me show you the programming. Anyway, body control module. Body computer. Go down to, select whichever year model you have. Mine happens to be a 2018. I'm not going to be able to connect to it because, again, I went ahead and put up my module, but I went ahead and put up my OBD link. But go to hood, start procedure, go all the way down to car configuration. Oops. Go all the way down to car configuration. Go down here to selected options. Go to remote start vehicle present config. Value yes. And then press start. And it will say something up here about status right now is no. Do you want to say yes? And press start again. Give it a couple seconds, and it's done. Nothing happens to the truck. You don't even know it's programmed, but it's programmed. After you program remote start present, go to hood ajar switch input present. Again, select yes. Then press start. It's going to say status is no. You want to change it? Select next. And then it'll program and it'll say yes. Then you also, I don't know if this is the same with all the year models, but for my specific one it is. Pin 11 hood ajar switch signal usage. My value was 500 ohms. I had to change it to 1,000 K parallel resistance. So do that, start. It'll say, the value is 500 ohms. Change it over to 1,000. program it, done. Now, come back here to the body control mod, or where, code to, where's home? I actually used my laptop because I couldn't get this to program, so I thought my laptop would do it, but it didn't. Well, it was already programmed. Go to, after you get done programming the remote start, the hood pin present, and then the 1000 ohms, go down here to your radio frequency hub. Select your year model, which should be most of us 13 to 21. Connect it. Then go down to hood procedures. Go down to, first of all, if you don't have your security pin, read the pin. It'll give you your 4-digit code. Then go back. Oops. Read your pin. Then come up here to Radio Hub Reset Replace. Type in your 4-digit pin, press start. Take about 10 seconds or so. It'll say, you know, resetting our programming. When it's done, I'll have like 3 or 4 lines, and it'll say, you know, then program, and then have some other stuff. And down here, it'll say complete. Once that's complete, turn the vehicle off, let it sit for 5 minutes, whatever. Then go drive it. After you get done driving it around the block, I don't know how long you have to drive it, but I drove it for 5-10 minutes. Came back to the house, and it started working again. Now, if you want to program your keys, the keys that come with the kit, stay in the radio frequency hub, go to Program Ignition Fobs Baseline. And when you do that, you have to type in your code. When you do that, there's instructions on the list. You have it in run. You can press start, and if it doesn't do it, it'll say, you know, turn key off. Turn key to the off position. Press start, and it will go through a procedure. And then if the key's already programmed, it'll say failed key programmed. So take the key out, put the new key in. Don't turn it, just put it in, press start. Takes a couple seconds, it's programmed. Pull the old key out, put the new key in, press start, go take a few seconds, then it'll program. This was a bit of a cluster, but it's working now. But anyway, that's done. That's programmed. I spent an extra 3 hours troubleshooting when I didn't even need a troubleshoot. So I didn't get the other thing installed today that I wanted to, but I can do that tomorrow. Anyway, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.